there, it's Anonymous Tea, where we spill the tea anonymously. Hello, 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 everyone. Hello, YouTubers. Hope you guys are all having an amazing day today, sending good vibes, sending positivity, sending blessings, and good energy to each and every single one of you. Thank you so much for tuning in. So today we are talking the TGIF mess regarding this birthday roast of Al Reynolds, and there's all types of fallout, you guys. Tasha K has entered the chat. Funky Dineva has refuted some of the things that Tasha K had said in the chat, and all of the things. We are going to talk about it, right? So I'm going to just give you guys kind of like a quick overview, because there's a lot of audio, there's a lot of footage, and I just want to get to the main highlights, you guys, because I don't know how you guys' attention spans are, but I like to get to the main point and get in and get out, right? So, really quickly, Armon Wiggins said the following on this roast of Al Reynolds. He said, "Al, you're a man of many talents, some of which include being messy, causing drama, and having a knack for making our workplace feel like a reality TV show. Al's got a unique ability to smile in your face, snap a picture, and go behind your back and talk about you to your coworker that he claims he hates. It's like he's got a PhD in two-faced studies. Al fancies himself as the facts guy. Somehow he never seems to get the actual facts right. He also a talk show host who's supposed to have all the strong opinions, but the guy can't form a thought without his notes. I've seen grocery store lists with more spontaneous insight. And if that wasn't enough, Al currently is on a mission to get our talk show canceled. His nasty, childish, slightly jealous attitude is working overtime to torpedo our show. It's like he's auditioning for a soap opera villain role. So here's to you. May your future be as drama-free as your past has been drama-filled. Happy birthday, Al." And the other piece that was in here was, Al Reynolds' relationship allegedly with the Fox executives, and also the noting of that Al's not allowed to talk about his ex-wife, or they're not allowed to talk about Al's ex-wife, Star Jones, or as Armon Wiggins said, he'll get fired, right? So nonetheless, that happened, right? That's part of it. And then there is the other part where Funky Dineva is on a live, and Al Reynolds calls in cussing, and Funky Dineva is all like, like I'm on live or whatever. And so then Al Reynolds like, "I'm pissed. You gotta bleep and watch tonight's TGIF." And then Funky Dineva, he was like so messy. He was like, what happened? So what did happen? He's like, "You just gotta watch tonight's TGIF or whatever," right? So the episode airs, this roast airs, a lot of people have screen recorded it and all the things. However, there then was a message, you guys, that, "Hello guys, today's show's been canceled as I am dealing with some internal issues on what's supposed to be my birthday weekend. See you all soon," from Al Reynolds' Twitter, you guys. So some people misinterpreted this tweet and assumed that the show was canceled, that TGIF was canceled. But then Tasha K, you guys, entered the chat, right? So Tasha K, here's the thing. A broken clock can be right twice a day, right? And I felt if Tasha K went this approach, because this is like one of her most accurate reads ever, if she did more of this and less of the Cardi B stuff and all this other stuff, I think like she would have like a lot more people's respect. But now the default is, oh, Tasha K's a liar, don't believe anything she says. But nonetheless, she had some points to make, right? So she basically said that, she feels that Fox Soul, the reason that they exist is because they're trying to attract black viewership, black demographics, and they know their main channel, their main Fox News, with certain pundits, with certain programming, it's geared toward a certain demographic, right? It's geared to your Karens, geared toward, the people who are afraid to say certain things in the workplace or in the presence of black people. And so, nonetheless, that is their quote-unquote safe space where they can talk a little bit more reckless and say all of those things. And they needed something to cater to the black demographic. So in comes Fox Soul, in comes all of this programming initially to attract black viewership and build the platform, right? However,
a lot of these programmings were mainly on YouTube. It wasn't getting involved into any like syndication or streaming services. There were very few shows that I believe you could also watch like on Tubi or somewhere as well. But nonetheless, felt as though, you know, Tasha K basically said, hey, they concocted this show, TGIF, to just put together some popular YouTubers and influencers. And, you know, basically her and Claudia had some lunch at some point in time, or dinner or whatever. And Claudia Jordan had called out Tasha K because she felt that the way that Tasha K was bashing Fox Soul was not good for the platform, was not good because they were trying to build, and also they were trying to get in syndication. And so then she also talks about Funky Dineva and says that Funky Dineva was fired, contract was terminated or whatever, regardless of what he says about quote unquote mutually parting ways or whatever. Basically said, accused Funky Dineva, alleged Funky Dineva of going behind Al Reynolds and Claudia Jordan's back, trying to demand more money. Because as you'll recall, he said he was making allegedly $250,000 a year. And then Tasha K was just spilling even more tea and said that Claudia Jordan made the most out of everyone. She made $300,000 a year. That Funky Dineva made $250,000 a year, and that Al Reynolds made $125,000. Now, I don't know if you guys remember the earlier episodes, but Al always referenced like his situation, and Funky Dineva always made jokes about his situation. That basically his lifestyle, you know, wasn't up to par, wasn't where it needed to be when he first started on TGIF, right? But as the result of TGIF, now you see him doing red carpet events. Now he has this new show on YouTube, The People's Court, and all these things. And it's rumored that this show, he's trying to work behind the scenes and either get this show on TV or syndication or what have you, or get some other type of show, right? And that's also another source of this alleged rift between him and Claudia Jordan, right? And so basically, you know, Tasha K is pointing out that Funky Dineva, while he's trying to do all this sneaky stuff behind, you know, Al Reynolds and Claudia Jordan's back, trying to get a pay increase, she was trying to explain, she was like, listen, like the platform hasn't even been around long enough for you to be demanding all this money. Like your guys' viewership isn't even matching what your salaries are to even justify it. Why not wait until the show gets syndication, until the show is available on more platforms for there to be other ways people can view it besides YouTube before you start making demands for a pay increase, right? And so ultimately what happened is when Funky Dineva had that 6-month contract, essentially negotiations fell through and he decided to walk away from it because he felt basically, listen, I'm the show, I'm doing all this contribution, I'm not working for free, you better pay me what you owe me. But the other side of it, with this being a new company, with this being a new platform, it's in its early stages of needing growth. And technically getting all this money this soon, you know, was great for you. But at the same token, if you waited a little bit longer, you could have utilized that to your benefit once this was available in syndication and more eyeballs were able to, you know, be aware of this show and be aware of this existence of this show, right? And so nonetheless, you know, also in this conversation with Claudia Jordan, this was at, you know, after all the Funky Dineva stuff, because again, she had referenced Funky Dineva as quote unquote a former colleague, former friend, and all these things, but alleged that Funky Dineva told her all this tea, and also said that when she met up with Claudia Jordan, this was at the height of, you know, the Funky Dineva fallout, because there was always controversy on the show. And one thing she did say that she did like about Funky Dineva is he's going to say whatever he feels in the moment. He's not going to sugarcoat anything. He is going to speak his mind, and he is well versed on the topics at hand that is being discussed, right? And so she said that she had a feeling things were going to go south with Armon Wiggins. She said she also recommended Armon Wiggins for, you know, a Funky Dineva's replacement to Claudia Jordan. But she said that even her and Armon Wiggins fell out, that she tried to mentor him for 42 days and then she caught him drunkenly dragging her on another platform after the fact, and then that's when she cut ties with him, because she's like, how are you going to ask me to mentor you and then you're getting drunk on your platform, dragging me, calling me all types of whatever? How am I supposed to continue mentoring you, and this is the things that you're saying about me behind my back? And then also felt that Armon although she recommended him, technically the job was offered to T.S. Madison, but the rumor is T.S. Madison was going to be basically offered the same amount of money that Al Reynolds was allegedly making, which was like the $125, $150 a year. And T.S. Madison allegedly is like, listen, I can make that in my sleep with these other ventures that I've got going on. You better be paying me, you know, way more, right? And so nonetheless, that fell through. So they ended up choosing Armon, right? And so basically, Tasha K thought initially Armon was going to utilize this platform to grow, to research, to really try to make his mark, because even though technically Fox Soul isn't, you know, at the level of these other, you know, reputable organizations and companies and everything else, they still ultimately are owned by, you know, the owner who, of course, distributes all of the Fox News and everything else. Meaning, even if you think the company overall is that essentially you could still have an opportunity to network and utilize the platform to get other spots on TV, get other opportunities. And Claudia Jordan, Tasha K was saying and alleging that Claudia Jordan was bragging about her relationship with these Fox executives and how she can always pitch them shows and get all of these opportunities. But it sounded like Armon Wiggins has yet to, you know, get and, you know, take advantage of any of these opportunities, even though he's technically still new. He's only been there, since March, April-ish? So he hasn't even been there that long. But nonetheless, Tasha K is alleging that he still hasn't met any network executives at Fox Soul. He hasn't been offered, you know, to co-host Dish Nation at any point in time, or hasn't been offered any red carpet events up until this point. And so nonetheless, she thought that he would use this opportunity to really, you know, make the most of it. But she said that she saw the concern in two areas. She said, one, the viewership was significantly down. With Funky Dineva, they were averaging over 100K to 140,000 viewers an episode. With Armon Wiggins, they're struggling to even get 60,000 views an episode. And even they're trending downward into the 40,000 views an episode. And so nonetheless, she felt that she saw the deficiency with Armon regarding the Air Force story and his commentary on that, and she just felt that, again, he did not use the platform to research everything regarding the story and just gave like an ignorant take on all of these things. And so she felt at that point they were going to make a move. They were going to try to bring some other people in and ultimately try to replace Armon Wiggins, right? And so basically, she also made an interesting comment. I basically said her and Claudia Jordan do not like always working with certain, and she made it a quote unquote, this is coming from Tasha K, is alleging that her and Claudia Jordan do not want to work with quote unquote men who are not heterosexual, but specifically wanted to say the F slur in relation to that. But basically, Claudia Jordan, in replacing Funky Dineva, was comfortable with T.S. Madison, but did not want, you know, anybody else that matched, you know, the you know, Funky Dineva archetype or what have you. But even though Al Reynolds was still there, right? But she's just over it. She wanted there to be a platform, you know, where she could work with other women, she could work with heterosexual men, and all of these things. And it seems as though that was not the direction based off of who was being recommended to replace Funky Dineva, right? And so also then Tasha K talked about the fact that how, you know, Armon Wiggins is limited. He only likes to talk about female rap beef for the most part and likes to stay in women's business, but doesn't have a vast knowledge of other things that's going on. So a lot of times when he gives opinions or commentary on other things, it seems tone deaf. This is coming from Tasha K. And also she is saying as well that, you know, this really just proves the huge drop off of Funky Dineva, and really Funky Dineva was the best out of all of them. She said that he was better than Claudia Jordan, he was better than Al Reynolds, and she said he was better than Armon. And so essentially, you know, basically compared this to YouTube, because technically YouTube is one of the main platforms that TGIF airs on. And she was trying to say they're paying nearly $500,000 to these people, you know, in a salary, and you can't justify basically barely hitting 60,000 views an episode, and your hosts are making near $500,000, right? for the year, and you can barely crack 60,000 views. The math isn't mathing. And so she said that the show is going under and that Fox is taking out additional loans to keep this show afloat for now, and basically compared it to the average YouTuber, saying the average YouTuber is making anywhere from $500 a year to $1 million a year. So that's a very wide range of, you know, what a potential YouTuber is making in a year, depending on several factors, right? And so nonetheless, she basically said that, you know, she felt that Armon has just had this history of falling out with all these people, and she referenced herself, she referenced Jason Lee, she referenced T.S. Madison, she referenced Jessica XOXO, she also referenced a sister-in-law, she referenced all these people that Armon has fallen out with, and that he's not loyal to anybody, and that every opportunity that he has, she is saying that he somehow tries to sabotage it or ruin it. And she felt that this roast was no different, and also felt that nonetheless that she felt that Armon has an issue with being rejected and accepting rejection and defeat and all these things, and so as a result uses as a defense mechanism and goes in on the attack, that it's always somebody else's fault and never takes accountability for his own actions, right? And so then also as well, she had mentioned that, you know, they played the read, basically, it was a drag fest that, you know, Armon gave Al Reynolds for the birthday roast, which I don't understand why we're doing a birthday roast for your birthday. Your birthday is supposed to be a celebration, right? I wouldn't even work that day. A lot of times I don't work on my birthday. So I don't even understand why you would want to roast. Usually when they do roast of these celebrities, it's usually like if they're doing like a retirement, or it's like towards like the downside of their careers where they've already like established themselves. But to just do a roast every year for somebody's birthday kind of just seems like really lame, right? Because you want your birthday to be a positive day. You're celebrating another year of life. Why would you want to get dragged on your birthday of all days, right? Didn't make sense to me, right? But nonetheless, that's what they like to do at Fox Soul, right? So nonetheless, you know, basically she did not like what Armon Wiggins said, because she felt as though this was a setup. She felt that perhaps even Claudia Jordan, you know, put him up to this, or potentially even wrote the script of what Armon Wiggins even said, allegedly. But basically she said that Armon was not on the show that long to have all of this tea, that Al Reynolds supposedly is trying to get the show canceled, have all this tea that allegedly, you know, Al Reynolds has all these relationships with all these big people at Fox Soul, and know already that, you know, you're not allowed to talk about Star Jones, talk about his marriage and all these things, that was too soon for Armon to have all this tea, and she felt that somebody fed that information to him, and when the opportunity presented itself, he, you know, went in. And so what better opportunity than a roast of Al Reynolds for his birthday? And I think also Armon wanted to get back at Al Reynolds, because a lot of times Armon will, or, you know, whenever Armon's like reacting to a story, Al Reynolds will give some comment like, oh, you're just a little boy or whatever, or try to like down him and try to sun him, right? So nonetheless, I think, you know, Armon had been waiting in the bushes for a while to get his get back on all of the little digs that Al Reynolds had been making, right? And so then also from there, Tasha K also pointed out that Claudia Jordan is very messy behind the scenes, and basically said, you know, how are you going to be talking to me? We're colleagues, but we're not friends. But how are you just going to spill all this tea to me and we're not close, allegedly, right? And then also spilled that Claudia Jordan told her that her and Kathy White were friends, you know, the alleged mistress that mysteriously passed away, that was rumored to a famous A-list rapper, right? Nonetheless, she said that Claudia Jordan, she's alleging Claudia Jordan has amnesia now about that alleged mistress, Kathy White, whenever she brings it up, although she freely told her that they were friends at their little sit-down lunch, brunch, dinner, what have you, right? And so then she also said as well that she felt that, you know, Armon lacked the intelligence to, you know, really research and read and have intellectual conversations about the topics that they're having at hand. Also, she feels that Armon took the bait to be messy, but she doesn't, she said essentially Armon doesn't realize that he's the one that's going to be set up, that if they do decide to make any changes, it is going to be Armon that would be out first and foremost over Al Reynolds. And that's the piece she feels that Armon didn't realize when he did this read, because she said, you basically showed your behind in front of all of these executives, and, essentially all HELL is broken loose, right? And she said, because the ratings, the viewership is down, now they're bringing in guest hosts like T.S. Madison and Lunel to try to save the show, because they feel that just having Armon as Funky Dineva's replacement isn't enough, right? And so then also, Claudia Jordan got wind of Tasha K's video and basically did a couple of lives, and I think hopped in somebody's chat, hopped in somebody's, platform to do an interview from like the bed or something. So it was interesting because Claudia Jordan, she kept calling Tasha K a liar, but she wouldn't necessarily say what actually was a lie, right? And then Funky Dineva, he clipped portions of Tasha K's, commentary regarding this Fox Soul drama, but only gave commentary as it related to him allegedly going behind everybody's back trying to negotiate more money. And he basically was saying, hey, I only had a 6-month contract. I was trying to negotiate and trying to prove to them my worth, and once they offered me the same rate or something that I felt insulted by, I decided to walk away. And he was trying to say to Tasha K there was nothing like nefarious going on, or I wasn't trying to be messy behind the scenes and all this other stuff. So he's trying to refute that portion, but everything else Tasha K said, whether it was about Armon or Claudia Jordan or whoever, he didn't refute any of that. He only wanted to refute the portion as to why Funky Dineva was no longer there and alleging all this messy stuff behind the scenes that he was doing, right? So there was that. So then Claudia Jordan went live a couple times, right? So like I said, the first time she called Tasha K a liar. Another time, she got wind, I guess at that point, that the TJF episode for the birthday roast was removed, was deleted off the platform. And so then that's when she went in and she was like, oh, Al must have got his way because he's the one that has the relationship with all these executives and all of that. So he must have been able to get his way. People were asking in the comments about her friendship with Al Reynolds because she thought that they were cool. I personally thought that they stopped being cool when, there was a story on Nene Leaks, and essentially Al Reynolds went to bat for Nene because him and Nene are friends, and I think at that point Claudia Jordan felt a certain type of way and wanted nothing to do with him. But basically Claudia Jordan was saying, she doesn't like all these fakeness and these fake people, alleged that people were basically pretending to be a friend in her face and then talking about her behind their backs, that she'd seen text messages, that people, I guess, were trying to count her money, were trying to count her pockets, were making fun of, I guess, the car that she drives, and were taking pictures of it, and then they were, I guess, stalking where she moved to because she just got a new house or whatever, so they're like taking pictures of that, so they felt insecure because they're trying to figure out, okay, how much money is Claudia Jordan really making, and then started treating her differently, started having an attitude with her. But Claudia Jordan said, Fox Soul, this isn't my only source of income. TJF is not my only job. I have other jobs. I act, I still do reality TV, I do all of these other things. This isn't my primary source of income, so why are you trying to use what I drive and where I live as some type of indication that all of this is coming from Fox Soul? And so then, just as she was about to get into the real reason her and Al Reynolds fell out, which kind of alluded to her finding out that he was being two-faced, but it sounded like there was something even bigger that potentially happened, that they were no longer friends, but she said she was still going to be professional and work with them because they fell out several months ago. And so nonetheless, the live cuts off, you guys. The live cuts off just as Claudia Jordan is trying to reveal why her and Al Reynolds are not, friends anymore or whatever. But here's the thing. There's so much tension now. And really there was tension the moment Wiggins joined, because I think Al Reynolds always felt a certain way at the departure of Funky Dineva, because obviously him and Funky Dineva are friends, are cool. And obviously the common denominator here is they don't like Claudia Jordan, right? And so nonetheless, remember when I did the videos, initially when Funky Dineva first left Fox Soul earlier this year, and he was going live at the same time as TGIF, and there was like this rumors of messiness back and forth, and like Claudia Jordan was, saying some stuff in her lives, and then Funky Dineva was saying some stuff, but was like they were throwing subliminals at each other, but not directly saying each other, but we knew that they were talking about each other. And then next thing we know, there's like a ceasefire. They decide they're not going to talk about each other at all. But now there's also a reference of some more tea that somebody wants to spill on Claudia Jordan. So I guess it depends on whether or not TGIF goes under, on how quickly that alleged tea is going to go out. I think ultimately what happened, I think with this roast, Claudia Jordan perhaps wanted to do some get back to Al Reynolds, and what better way than to utilize the new person, which is Armon Wiggins, who doesn't know all of, what has happened behind the scenes and all of this. And it was just a perfect opportunity to just put that out there, right? Because he's only getting like one side of the story. And so nonetheless, I think Claudia was anticipating that Armon was going to be the one dragged, and Armon was going to be the one that was going to receive all the backlash for, saying the things that he said that was beyond a roast, that was basically him dragging the heck of Al Reynolds, right? And even Claudia Jordan said in her live, she said, why would you be so upset about this and want the video removed unless you felt some of it was true? A roast is supposed to be lighthearted. We do it all the time for each other's birthdays. And she was like, but nonetheless, I will say though, anytime people come for Claudia Jordan's rumored past or rumored tryst with all these celebrities, she does get in her feelings and she will immediately respond. If you go that route, if you try to drag her or try to allege that she was with all these celebrities, or that if she was a pass around, or that if she was any of these things, if you say any of that, she is going to come to you and be like, listen, none of that is true. I'm tired of people lying on me. I'm tired of people saying X, Y, and Z about me. So everything else I guess is fine, except for the rumor past. That's when she's going to go to battle, right? But nonetheless, like I said, I think people were anticipating Armon to get dragged for this because he ultimately was the one that said all of this. But like I said, and what Tasha K said, right? If you look at it analytically, there's no way Armon would have known all of this soon if he's only been there for a few months, right? To have all of this tea to spill and just conveniently spill it for this birthday roast of Al Reynolds, right? And the other side is Armon Wiggins. He's a YouTuber. He's a fellow YouTuber, so he is used to spilling tea, selling it in an extravagant way, dragging people and all of these things in a certain type of way. So this was in his wheelhouse. This was something that he has done time and time again, of dragging people, right? So people who know his platform, people who are used to his videos, know that this is something that he's done, on a number of occasions, right? But it just so happens this time he's actively doing it to a coworker, and he's the new person on the job. So it was like, why are we doing this? And if you have all this tea, that he has all this power allegedly behind the scenes, and he's two-faced behind the scenes, and he's trying to get the show canceled behind the scenes, why would you put yourself out there in the fire to do this particular drag and say these particular quote-unquote roasts, which were really reads, in the event that you could be on the chopping block as well? Like, make it make sense, right? But nonetheless, I think people put two and two together that they think Claudia Jordan is somehow behind this. And perhaps this was her opportunity to allegedly get back at Al Reynolds. Maybe she doesn't like that, how they fell out, whatever led to them falling out. Also, she clearly doesn't like that there's still this hold, obviously, regarding the Funky Dineva Al Reynolds friendship that has a lot of power, that has a lot of significance, that maybe, Claudia Jordan felt a way about and is like, listen, Funky Dineva's not here anymore. You need to tighten up and get it together. I'm tired of the passive aggressiveness. I'm tired of the little digs, the side comments, all this other stuff. I'm going to find a way to get back at you. And this ultimately was the thing. And so since people don't know what is true and what isn't regarding this behind the scenes drama, Claudia Jordan, she's always the first one to get on these lives, to get on these interviews and say, hey, it wasn't me. I didn't do this. I'm not responsible for what these other people say and do and blah, 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 blah. But it seems though at the height of all of this controversy, every time there is shenanigans with TGIF, somehow Claudia Jordan is in the mix, boys. Somehow she's associated with it, right? So what does that mean, right? Where did Armon Wiggins get all this tea supposedly about all this power that Al Reynolds supposedly has at the network, and that he's trying to get the show canceled, and that nobody's allowed to talk about Star Jones, even though Lunel threw that in there, in which Claudia Jordan made sure they went to break after, and all of these other allegations that were a part of that roast. Like, if none of it was true, if all of it was fake news, then why did the episode get taken down? But I think also Fox realized, listen, part of this roast as well, not just if, you know, it is true that Al Reynolds complained and wanted it removed, but also in that allegations, it puts the network on the line, because you're basically accusing one of your coworkers of canoodling and conspiring against the show, against your colleagues, and that puts the network's credibility in jeopardy. That puts the network's integrity in jeopardy, and all of these things. So nonetheless, you know, they had to take that down, but there are several YouTubers, there are several black blogs that have already clipped the main points of this drag to where it's circulating everywhere, so everyone, you can see it, you know, whether it's in pieces or whatever, but you can pretty much get the gist of what happened at that bros. So what was deleting it going to do, right? Other than it's just stopping whatever coins you were going to make from it. But what is deleting it now going to do when everybody's reposting those clips on their platforms, right? And asking for people to give a reaction to it. So people have already utilized it for content already before you deleted it. So make it make sense, right? But ultimately, you know, and I think, I don't know if I would say go as far as to think that this was a publicity stunt to try to get more viewership, only because the way Al Reynolds was so professional on TV, and that was the other piece that Tasha K wanted to talk about, was how Al Reynolds is very experienced in this TV and media space. He knows how to keep it cute and professional on camera, and he's not going to, you know, say anything that's disparaging on camera. He'll make little digs, but he's not going to do anything that's going to be out of pocket or seen as, you know, over the top or whatever, right? He's not going to get out of that bubble, right? But we heard the real Al Reynolds when he got on that phone with Funky Dineva, and Funky Dineva had him on speaker, and he was cursing like a sailor, you guys. So nonetheless, I think ultimately we'll see what happens. If this is an opportunity to get some more ratings this week, I presume many people are going to be tuned into tomorrow's episode to see what the fallout is going to be with Al Reynolds, with Armon Wiggins, and Claudia Jordan. If they're all going to keep it cute and keep it, you know, strictly about, you know, the stories. Is somebody going to be absent tomorrow? And one of the guest co-hosts are going to step in, or no co-host step in. Like, I just need to know where we go from here, right? And is the rumors true of what Tasha K is alleging, that in fact this show is on its last leg, which is why they are, you know, ushering in now these co-hosts to potentially have a fourth co-host to try to bring in some more viewership, you guys. So there is that. Let me know what you guys think about all of this. Are you on anybody's side about this? Are you team Al Reynolds? Are you team Claudia Jordan? Are you team Armon Wiggins? What do you think of all the tea that Tasha K spilled on her platform in regards to some of the behind the scenes drama regarding TGIF and who wants to work with whom, who was recommended, the behind the scenes of what she's alleging took place with Funky Dineva and Fox Soul. Funky Dineva then getting on his platform, responding to portions that, you know, talk about his departure from the show, but he doesn't edit out anything else that Tasha K says in dragging Claudia Jordan and in dragging Armon Wiggins. He let that fly, right? So nonetheless, a lot of moving parts. But this is why I didn't want to play any audio, you guys, because as you can see, we're already over 30 minutes alone, just trying to recap everything that has literally taken place over the last 48 hours, right? So it was a lot of meat to cover, but we'll continue to update, you know, if anything changes, if there's any more subliminals, if there's any more drama, if there's any more tea. I believe Armon and Claudia Jordan, from what I see from their platforms, are in Las Vegas right now. So nonetheless, we'll continue to monitor this and see what happens from here. But I am curious to hear your guys' thoughts now in the comments. Please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you're notified the moment I post new content on my channel. And with that being said, I'll talk to you guys again very soon.